6:30, we'll call the meeting to order. Start off with our prayer and pledge. And you want to lead some prayer?
Yes, sir. Thank you, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come here today with grateful hearts, Lord God. We thank you for this opportunity, Lord Jesus, to be here, Lord God, to serve this community, the school, Lord Jesus, especially our students. Lord God, we just ask you be with us today as we conduct this meeting, Lord God, and that anything that we made decision wise, Lord God, that it glorifies you. Lord God, we thank you for many blessings that you have given us. Lord God, we thank you and we adore you. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I think we can mosey on out.
I never did that serenity. I don't. Oh, yeah. I've never had
Coach. And coach. There we go here.
Sheila. And tell me. Oh,
You don't mind?
If I don't go here.
Okay, congratulations to the state PS debate team with Coach Hillary Blacker and Cooper Spray and Abigail Mosley. Our
All right, and now our FFA range team. That's Caleb Herzog. Cutter Lee. Herbie Miller and Ben Mulgrew.
Our state qualifier FFA, Derek Allen. Reese Redford, City Hall, Randy Long, Alan Long, the biggest hitter.
Okay, next will be the state boys basketball team. Pretty deep team.
Yeah.
So y'all can kind of head this way, it's gonna be a packed house, I don't know. Very good. Okay.
First one, Dr. Scott.
Okay.
Ryan Bednar. Goldie Ham. Lorenzo Morgan. Rick Guerrero. Ray Miller. Casey Spray. Aaron Chisholm. Over the table. John Stanley. Cody Dale. Bo Willie.
Cole Gentry. Cooper Spray. Jim Baldridge. Jack Woolley. My buddy. Caleb Herzog. Dave Blacker. Tom Clay. Carson Long. Easton Blacker. And Garrison Allen. Coach five, everybody knows, I don't know if y'all know this guy, Ryan Blackford. Everyone can be in the front and center. And shut up, I don't know, don't everyone. Say Josh Stanley. Yeah. I think it's for we can sit on one side and this is what you love. Hey, if y'all can, you know, good light, all in there, you want to kind of, you know, one side. Hey, you're come on, come on, come on. Make sure we see your face, mom can see your face, but I can get a picture. Hey, Ryan, Queen. Do y'all see? Okay, see you. And now. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the state UIL academic qualifier, and I have the first three in this order. Accounting team, persuasive speaking, and informative, so that you guys have that. So accounting team will start by, this team was first at regional. They are made up of Abigail Mosley, Hoda Tables, Jay Chisholm, Tucker Scott, coached by Stephanie Carpenter. Good. So the next group are the persuasive speakers, starting with David Walker, Cooper Spray, coached by Hillary Walker. And then we're going to go to our one informative speaker that it will say, Colt Gentry, coached by Hillary Walker. Okay, next we'll do poetry, prose, and feature writing. For poetry, we have Ella Long, coached by Angela Woolley. For prose, we have Colt Gentry, also coached by Angela Woolley. Feature writing, we have Blanky Baldridge by Amber White.
I know, right?
Next, we have the state boys golf qualifiers. Start with Colt Gentry. Go to your number. Caleb Herzog. Riley Minister. Mr. Tom Blake.
Basketball, we'll have, track and state qualifiers, pretty good list, start with the girl, Jace Chisholm. And coming with it. 2 mile relay. Reach Bradford. 400 meters, mile relay. Pretty long. Brandon Ham.
And boys, you gotta start out Garrison Allen. Don't throw over the throw bits. Rachel Marcus, my relay. John Stanley. 400, 800, my relay. John Scott, my relay. And it hurts me to even say this, I just, Bobby, Gold, for them, the career you guys have had, to get injured, I know it's tough on y'all, like tough on me, but, hey, that's the way it works, man, it's, kind of ran out, but you guys have been soldiers through many years, so I'm real proud of you guys. They'll be, and that's, if needed. Won't be anything. Cash. Around about that. That wasn't my fault. Congratulations, Margaret.
Always come up and come forward. I guess that's one thing about with the current concept.
I don't have time to protect you. Thank you, man. Well, good, y'all. We'll see the rest of them next year. One day.
There's air.
Yeah.
There is air. It came on.
It came on.
You fixed it.
AC came on.
You what?
Let's cool air. It's on.
Yeah.
Go back in here. Did it up.
There you go. Now we can go from
74. If I get a little chilly.
Yeah, crank down, so far.
What'd you do with the air conditioner?
There's a thing that says ON and OFF. You do that.
Who has the? Who has the bag FFA stuff? Do we have one list that has everything, or they're all separate lists?
Oh, and the big one.
No, that's, okay, I got them. CX, we start with CX. Yep, it's all the same. Okay, gotcha. I didn't miss that. We're good. This way when I post them. No more post of alarm. You're both corrected.
Hey, so.
I forgot to tell you, Kenzie, Brown came up to me and said, they don't want to be mentioned. They're all.
I missed it. You had told me to remind you.
Next will be public comments. There's nothing on there. Okay. We'll move to the principal report.
Student enrollment. I was incorrect last time. Azriel will graduate with us, but she graduated this semester, so it was 188. We're down to, it was 189, we're down to 188. So that's the difference there. I had not corrected that semester. As far as next year, we already have 2 current transfer applications for the 26-27 school year that we have in Mr. Coulter's office. They were wanting to come before school got out. We received those in about the last week and a half, which is very difficult, but we will be reviewing those 2 when we get the opportunity, and so that would help us there. I looked back at a year ago, we were 181, so we're up 7 on what we were a year ago, getting closer to 200. Did look at the Lone Star stuff. It hasn't changed since March. I think the last one was March 25th. Our next update is May 22nd, and it will be the big update. It pretty much has everything on there. We're still in first place with 43 right now, but that will have the UIL. That has pretty much everything on there, I believe, except, thank you, except, I think baseball might be the last, I think we were waiting on baseball last year, but that will be the next updated report as far as that goes. You just saw the majority of them. A lot of you had kids there. We had 28 kids and 4 sponsors traveled to Colorado Springs for the academic trip. Those trips are not real common these days. And so that's a testament to our kids and our community that they can go off for 4 days and stay in camp and do those things together and not have any issues. Almost unheard of. A lot of people don't take those trips any longer simply because of the liability in that. And so that's a testament to our community and our kids and our sponsors, and I appreciate them going, and they'll be tired when they get home, and that'll be good. Rest well. So kind of piggyback off that, this time of year is really hectic and frustrating and a lot of things, but I will tell you, it is an awesome pleasure to spend time doing that right there compared to all of the other stuff. And that right out there far outweighs the negative and the discipline things and all the junk that happens this time of year. And so it's done it for 28 years. It is a blessing to get to enjoy the success and live vicariously through our students. And I do deal with, Nelson and I do deal with some stuff. I'm not saying that, but it is minuscule in comparison to celebrating those victories and celebrating those wins. And I can't understate how much of a blessing that is, especially this time of year when we're all tired and our tempers are about as long as our hair is, and we're kind of worn out, but it is a blessing. And that's a tribute to our kids and the community and expectation. And to play off of that, that group will be, this weekend, we'll be traveling to state track. And I kind of did the rest of this week. I did the rest of this week at the bottom, but a bunch of those kids will go to state track, leaving on Thursday at 9 a.m. We have a send off. They'll stay down there on Sunday, and they'll go to state UIL Monday and Tuesday. And then we'll come home and do the big event on Wednesday, junior high, entered 8th grade graduation on Thursday, and then they'll graduate on Friday. So this year is pretty much over. I think, no, we have kids out there who can play tomorrow. I don't think we'll have everybody here the rest of the year as far as I've looked at it. We won't. We'll have kids at everything, which again is a blessing. They're active. But speaking of that, we do have the big event next Wednesday. High school awards assemblies at 10:30 next week on the 21st with Kinder Senior Walk at 10:15 a.m. Graduations that evening at 6 o'clock on the 21st for Kinder. Junior high, it's 8th grade graduation. And then high school graduations Friday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. As far as the school year goes, a little bit different. We do end on Thursday, and that ends on Thursday at noon for everybody. Our staff is also out the way we scheduled this year. So that makes for an interesting way. We haven't figured out how we're going to finish the year out yet. As far as we already have students that are registering for summer courses with Miss Harrison and lining things out, we are working on planning on schedule and covering things, but we've got to have things kind of slow down here before we can get to the next. Again, as far as this week go, the events are listed there. The junior high award tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, elementary junior high awards at 10, area FFA convention at San Angelo. Same thing on Wednesday as far as that goes. We have the spring elementary program and band concert that night at 6. Thursday, pre-K through 2 field trip, state track, and they'll leave for state track in Austin at 9, and then Friday and Saturday, state track in Austin. So, you want to find something to do, you can find something to do this week. But again, what a great way to finish the school year out, and would rather be that way than finish and chasing students that don't want to be here and all those things. So, but yeah, and I've heard nothing but positive about the trip to Colorado Springs. So that's good. Good stuff. So, anyways, that's all I have. Any questions?
You said big event, and it reminded me, Lions Club Day, somebody asked if y'all were going to sell t-shirts to the community like they've done before. Because they said, I haven't seen my t-shirt list order. And I said, oh,
I'll ask Miss Carpenter.
okay.
I'll ask
But
Ms. Carpenter, and
I
if we
forgot
do,
until you said the
if we
event.
do, I'll post it,
Okay,
t-shirt sales. Yes, I'll check with her in the morning.
Okay.
Like another day.
You just said about the dual credit. I just learned this to my wife, because my wife asked a bunch of questions, I guess. To do dual credit this summer, you need to be signed up by June 1st if anybody's doing. So. Set up appointments, your kids need to be in there, and school's paying for it, we need to. Tucker will graduate with an associate's degree or more. So it's good to hear stuff like that, that's why. That's why my big push when I got on board was to get these dual credits paid for by the school, that way we could push these kids along and make it a lot cheaper on our pocketbooks down the long run. So, just so you know the deadline, so you don't go June 2nd, she's like, well, too late. So we just want everybody to know, if y'all spread that word too.
And we're closed that first Monday for Memorial Day, and then we're here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then back that next week, but Ms. Harrison will be here that first week out. And then even the next week, I guess.
And you've been having meetings with West Texas A&M, correct?
I met with them 3 weeks ago, yeah. And so they're happy to have us, but our kids that are taking dual credit while they're still here are mostly going through Western Texas College.
Okay, it still was.
There are a few of them through South
Yeah,
Plain.
see you stuff.
But when I met with West Texas A&M, Dr. Wendler and his team, one of the purposes of that meeting was to facilitate a smooth transition right through WTC and SPC into WTA&M. And so for our kids that want to go, that'll be an easy transition.
You may have mentioned it, I may have missed it, the big event is on Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
It's the 20th,
Yes, sir. And then athletic banquet that night.
that night.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I did not mention athletic banquet is that night, you're correct. That's it, it's all set, so I leave that off, thank you.
There's something.
We haven't handled it.
There's something every morning and every night, just went on.
I think tomorrow night is open, if I remember right.
Shh.
If you wanna throw something else.
Don't tell anybody.
Leave tomorrow night.
Have you seen that Kevin James?
In the learning center, we can start signing up for credit.
Right, just have right there, 7 to 10.
Have you seen that Kevin James stand-up routine when he talks about the subtle no head shake? When you're talking with your friend in front of your wives and your friend says something that you don't want him to, you go. Don't say we're not doing anything.
I'll tell you the funny thing, normally when I drive the bus back, there's 5, 6, 7 cars still before I drove the route from Lissaw off to Garland, I get back about 4:15. But I've noticed in the last week, we have a whole lot less afternoon traffic, so I'm not sure the teachers aren't trying to beat the students out of school. There's not as many people staying around.
Not as much prep to be done. I'm sure.
Right, not as much
At this
stuff,
point,
you're right.
not quite as much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And next we'll move to the superintendent report.
A couple of things first, and I alerted you on to this in the email I sent to you yesterday. It's been brought to my attention that board members, some of you are those that can typically cook burgers at lunch on the day of the big event. So, I'm not sure how to handle this. For those of you that can't, would you email me or text me and say I won't be there? Just so if none of you can be there, we'll figure out some way for somebody to be cooking burgers. Kelsey asked me to remind you all, if you have indicated to her that you're gonna go to TREA at Kalahari this summer. If you've had a change of plans, if your plans are still firm and you're gonna go, you don't need to say anything to her, but if you have a change of plans and she needs to cancel your rooms, please let her know about that. One of the most impactful books I've read in the last 10 years was titled Atomic Habits by James Clear. And in that book, he speaks to the power of adopting habits that move you toward the outcomes that you want, little by little, and abandoning the habits that prevent you from achieving the things you want. And so I think about that pretty often in the mornings, and you all have in front of you, you have this thing from the Clifton Strength Finder. And I've shown this to you many months ago. But this was a survey of the skills that came from research out of the Gallup organization over the last 20 years. And these are the elements that they believe position people in the workforce to be the most successful. And as you can see across the top, they kind of bundle it into domains of executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking. And I juxtapose this to the pressure that we get from TEA to focus so intently on test scores. And I think about what the business world thinks is important for people to be able to be successful. In recent months, I've been spending more and more time, because I see almost daily and certainly weekly news reports of companies that are laying people off and replacing their workload with artificial intelligence. So this week when I was doing yoga, I had this on the screen of my computer and I was looking at it and I was thinking, okay, of all those items under each of those domains, which of those things can a robot or artificial intelligence not do? Because maybe that's what we need to be training our focus for our kids on. I mean, I absolutely believe that if a robot can do it, it's going to do it. My wife even, and here's some good news. My wife even showed me, she's been a fan of those robot vacuums for several years. Any of you all use those? Yeah, but that saved me. I mean, I used to could get in good graces by vacuuming, but it was worth the trade. You know, the robot vacuum doing the vacuuming was a good deal. But my wife showed me a video this week of a robot lawnmower. Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, ready. I'm ready. But my point, though, is on these things, and I, if you will, just suffer me just for a few brief moments. On each of these areas, these words, as best as you understand them, take a look at them one by one and think of which ones a robot or artificial intelligence cannot do. You can mark through them or circle them something you want to. So for an example, and Kinsey, I did not warn Mackenzie about this, and I'll put you on the spot, and then you can say, I don't want to talk about it. It's okay.
Mhm.
But your mom was relating to me how you use the artificial intelligence to formulate a meal plan.
Mhm.
Do you mind describing that process?
And so I have a favorite place I eat when I'm in the Metroplex, which is Cava, which is like a Mediterranean version of Chipotle, of course. And so I typed in everything I like in my Cava bowl and said I want to make a meal prep plan for the week for a Cava bowl, make at least 8 servings. Here are the things I want to be included, create the order I should prep it and my grocery list. And so that was my Mother's Day dinner.
How long did it take for that to happen?
Oh, a minute.
I mean,
Mhm.
so, I'm sure I spent way too much time thinking about this, but I visited with, Steph was at the Commissioners Court meeting this morning too, and we had a nice conversation with those folks. You know, and you got grandkids here. You got kids here. You got kids here, not grandkids here right now. Any chance we're gonna get them someday?
We're on level right now.
Probably. Well, we'll give them a map. You got a son here right now, and family all over the place, of course. You're graduating one, but you still have a lot of family here. You still have children in school. And I've said it before, but I think it's quite possible my great grandkids are gonna go to school here. And I want, as testimony of what happened out there earlier. And I would give up a lot to know that my great grandkids are gonna go to this school. But it will only remain what it is if the people in this room remain forward thinking. And think beyond next week, beyond next year, beyond 3 years from now. We have to be thinking about when Garrison's gonna be your age. And how he's gonna make a living, where he's gonna raise his family. And how he's gonna make a living has everything to do with where he's gonna raise his family. And the kind of car he drives, and the church he attends, and the people that he calls his friends. And so it's important to me that we continually focus in this room on the big picture that's down the road. And we'll keep giving the dadgum state test, and they're changing the accountability system. Kinsey's neck deep in that stuff too. This is the last year that this coming year will be the last year we have the STAR test. It's shifting to a different model. And that's part of the political game, historically. When they don't get the results they say they're gonna get with the program and the system they create, then they change the system so that they can change the metrics. But they're our kids. They don't belong to Austin. They're our kids. They don't belong to Washington, DC. And we need to make the decisions that we think are in the best interest of them being happy, productive, and successful for a lifetime. Nobody. Okay, that sounded like a sermon. I'll shut up. I appreciate you all nodding and not nodding off when I'm talking like that. I'm every week I'm thankful for people in and around this community for what they do for this school. Frank Harrison is the new road supervisor for the county, and his gang was filling potholes here around the school a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure if that was intrinsic motivation on his part or whether his wife had something to do with it, but either way, well, we're going to give Frank public credit for it. The Texas Spur, and particularly Sue Jane Sullivan, you all have seen her around at a lot of our activities. And she and Stephanie go way back from when Stephanie was in high school even. They really do a nice job of trying to keep all of our stuff covered. And boy, they got a lot of balls in the air, and a lot of papers that they're trying to run. I can't imagine the puzzle that they work with. A couple of weeks ago, we were sending a beginner band to Clyde, and Crystal Clayball has her CDL, and she has driven some buses for us. She's not driven one of our big new buses. But she was gonna drive the big new bus that day and killed a turkey. I don't know if you looked at the windshield, but that thing hit right directly in front of her and bowed that thing in. I mean, it was a rock solid lick and spooked her pretty good, but, Joey and Andy and Jamie immediately swung into gear, took another bus. Jamie got behind the wheel and we got the broke bus home, the turkey killer home, and got the kids to the contest. I'm thankful for those people for swinging in. Repeatedly this year, some of the senior girls and from time to time Cooper Spray as well. When either Melissa Smith or Chelsea Rude, one or the other, has not been able to be on duty at the daycare center because of the seniors that have those schedules with dual credit in there. What I've done is I've reached out to one of the senior girls and say, would you be a captain that puts together their team for relief on daycare? And then I slide them a little cash under the table, after it's done. But recently it was Laney, Sydney, Reese, Cooper, and Jace, and then today we had cited again. It was Reese, Chase, and Bailey Glosson was involved today. So the academic trip returned today, and when I was a teacher here, and even when I was a principal, Mike Wilson sort of ran point on that, but I was able to go on some of those and drive, and those were great memory making events. And I don't know if any of you have ever thrown up for 7 hours and 45 minutes nonstop, but I did one year on a fishing trip.
The whole time.
I can remember looking over the edge of that boat at one point and thinking, it might be easier just to slide off.
It's good down.
It's miserable, but a good memory. A memory. But though, and Kevin, my son-in-law Kevin, sent a video of him and Caleb on that zip line thing where they just drop straight down, and you could probably sell that on YouTube or something. When the last time we met, I issued thanks to Tommy Clay for creating a way for us to have a golf simulator, and Margot got in touch with me later and said, Tommy wants you to know he wasn't the only one that contributed to that. So Tommy and 96 Livestock, Josh Gaines with them, Kim Robertson with PSI, Clinton Sand with Sand Farms, and Todd Spitzer with Spitzer Animal were also contributors to that project. Jamie already spoke to the Lone Star Cup standing. When I looked through that today, we could score a little bit at the state track meet and at the state academic week. Last year, it was Gordon that we were head to head with, and they had a baseball team. Are they still playing baseball? Are they? Yeah. So I think it's going to be nip and tuck again, and I think McMullen County's, but I don't know if they have anybody there in academics though. That's what I'm not sure about. But anyway, we're in the hunt. Josh sent me an email 2 weeks ago, from that the Jayton Jaybird football team was designated as the National Football Foundation National High School Academic Excellence Award for the nation. And that's all classifications, all high schools in this nation. So that was pretty significant. And I think he told me he was going to send that to the newspaper so that it would be recognized there. Letters of reasonable assurance went to all of our non-contract employees, and we got them all back signed, so we're good to go there. As far as we know, everybody's going to come back. And we got a couple limping. Dwayne had his surgery, so he's in rehab, and he'll either get better quickly or his wife will just send him back to work. One of the two. Tried to off a 250-gallon propane tank. I haven't got any bids yet on that. And so if it fails by the deadline, we'll lower the minimum price and we'll try again. It's just trying to move stuff out of our way. Got got an email, well, almost every day I get an email from TEA about something. I was telling Keith today, I got an email last week from another guy from the safety center saying we're on a 4-year rotation for some, what'd they call it thing? Audit, preparedness audit or something like that. I don't know. He and I have got to do a campus walkthrough in first week of June on that, but there was an email that came across from the commissioner's desk about 3 weeks ago that said, Commissioner is opening for public comment a proposed rule that you have an armed, uniformed security person at every extracurricular activity that has 250 or more people. And then just immediately I'm doing the superintendent thing and thinking, well, every extracurricular activity, band concerts, graduation, field days with elementary school, everything. And in just a few days, another email comes from the commissioner's office and says, we're going to have a public hearing on that. And that was going on today down in Austin. I have a feeling they were getting an earful.
They already had a hearing.
Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to land, but Jiminy Christmas, that'll be a logistical challenge, particularly in sparsely populated places like ours, and in places where a lot of the people that are there are armed anyway. You know, it's not like you don't have someone that's going to confront a shooter. But and search for the band directors on the way. 3 applicants, 2 of them I knew superintendents that were on the reference list, so I checked on them, and then one of them, just a quick glance at the resume told me we want to keep a hook in the water. Steph and I had a conversation last week, I think, about customer satisfaction surveys. I know you all did one, we didn't do, yeah, you did one a year ago. And that was one that you commissioned through TASB. Mm-hmm. When I worked in the big schools, we had customer satisfaction surveys in late spring every year. And so I'll generate one of those and I'll float it with you and let you see if there's gaps or something you want me to include, but we'll fly one of those out about the time, probably the first week after we get out of graduation, just to get a sense of how the community feels like we're doing, and also identify areas they think we can get better. Drug testing was again all clear, and that's a relief when that happens, both when it's the adults and the children. That's all I've got on that, Cody.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
The next one moved, action item, consider resignation of Lauren Huff with appreciation for service at JJSD and best wishes.
Yeah, this is just a formality. Whenever we lose employees for whatever reason, I think it's a nice gesture for it to hit the newspaper that you all said, thanks for your service and we wish you well, no matter what the circumstances.
So we'll need a motion.
We'll make the motion.
Andy makes a motion to accept Ms. Lauren Huff's resignation with appreciation of service. And best wishes. Jody seconds, all in favor?
Okay, thank you very much. So here we are on the school calendar again.
This is the last time, right?
Who knows? You watch Nate Bargatze? Nobody knows. So
Groundhog Day,
right,
sit in the same water hole every the same time every day.
So this is exactly the same calendar, and you also saw the vote thing I sent to the faculty. What I didn't want to do is just turn that thing upside down. So we found a couple of options so we could tweak it a little bit from what we had originally said we wanted to try in order to meet TEA's or the commissioner's demand that we have more weeks that have 5 days of instruction than weeks that don't. And so we just tinkered with those 2 dates in the fall. September 21, that was a whole professional development day. We'll turn it into a half day of school. November the 2nd, we'll turn that into a half day of school. That gives us 19 5-day instruction weeks and 18 4-day or.
That's a noon start, right? Noon to 3:30.
Well, not typically, but,
I think the kids would choose that.
yeah, right.
They'd be like, we can start late, right? Because it's on Monday. No.
We'd never get them up here.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, that's the calendar that I'll ask you to approve, if you're willing.
So we'll need a motion to consider the 2026-27 JJISD school calendar revision.
I'll make the motion.
Stephanie makes a motion.
I'll second.
Kenzie seconds, all in favor?
All right, thank you very much, and I'm sorry for the redundancy. I'm
There was already been appreciation for service on that.
Yeah.
Just told them we're canceling spring. We're just gonna cancel spring break to get the calendar right.
Right.
Y'all good with that?
So,
And so following that, then, the next item is if you've given me permission to pursue that staff development waiver that goes.
Next, we'll consider application to TDA for staff development waiver release to the 26-27 JJISD school calendar.
I'll make that motion.
DJ makes a motion. Roy seconds, all in favor? Next will be action item, formalize new terms beginning for Mr. Roy Chisholm and Mr. BJ Baldridge, marked by statement of officers and execution of oaths, consider possible realignment of the board.
When we, wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself here. The staff development waiver, Lindsay and Cody, if you mind signing that for me. Do that while I'm thinking about it. When we had the special election back in the fall and re-elected BJ and Roy, I'm thankful that at the time, when we declared we weren't gonna have the election, I went ahead and put these documents, noted for this board meeting, that we weren't gonna have the May election and that we needed to go through the formal process of them taking the oath of office and swearing on a stack of Bibles and all that stuff. And so BJ, on this one, if you'll sign there for that is, and also BJ signature and date. Roy, signature only on that. Signature and date on this one. Thank you. It makes you official again. Today is the 11th, May 11th.
Starting doubting myself.
And when Cody and I had our pre-board meeting, our agenda meeting last week, it completely slipped my mind that normally at this board meeting, when you have new board members come on, then you go through the process of either reorganizing the board or re-electing the current slate of officers. So ball is in your court on however you all want to handle that.
I'm good with what it is.
I'm good.
You don't got recommendations, I just don't wanna do this part. Oh, that's what
I'm happy to let y'all do these positions. I've done those before. I'm happy to let y'all do it.
He or she who has the pen has the last say.
Right.
Maybe make a motion later.
Yeah, probably.
Make the motion that we leave it the way it is, the way it's set.
And he makes a motion, leave the board the way it is, BJ seconds it, all in favor?
Leave the current slate of officers.
We tying that in, I don't think we had an actual motion to formalize new terms. Is that all
Well,
together?
you can, what you
Can we
can
make all
note, you
one?
can note on there that, Roy and BJ executed the oaths of office
Mhm.
to establish their new term.
So
And
it can all be one
You
motion
can, yeah,
again?
roll
Okay.
it up.
Should have motioned that then,
Yeah.
Romy.
Yeah, that's why I had it all in one spot.
Wait, wait, that was BJ and then who?
You might want to trade that for.
Oh, do we need to switch
Since
that?
I was in it.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know who seconded,
you made
He
the
motioned,
motion. Okay.
somebody else might ought to second it rather than me.
I'll second
You'll second it just to be safe? Okay.
Yeah, I don't, no. See how Rather much fun it be that clean.
secretary's job is?
Rather.
Got it.
Got her?
You're ready to go?
Mhm.
Thank you. The next will be discussion item, customer satisfaction survey forthcoming.
I've already touched on that. I just started rattling. If you all wanna offer a comment or suggestion about that. My inclination and experience with surveys is if you make them too long, you're not gonna get much response. So, my intent is to make it kind of pithy, where someone can get it done in 5 minutes, but also give them an open response option too, so that they can say what they want to say. And my intent is also to use Google Forms and not pay TASB or somebody else the money for that. I mean, unless you all want to. I mean,
No.
I think you know me, whatever data we get in response, you're gonna get to see it in the totality. So,
I think the data we're gonna get is be somewhat similar to the survey that you just did.
Yeah,
about a
with
half
that-
ago.
for the survey, for the region center,
You
yeah.
know.
But this one's more for the community and parent to give feedback to the school.
So it's
right?
gonna be, the one we did with TASB was staff based.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a different.
Well, and so, I'm glad we're having this conversation. Here's my intention,
Yeah.
is right off the bat, I'll ask them to declare whether or not they're a school employee or a community member.
That's good.
And so I mean, people can lie if they want to, but, that'll give us some sense of how.
Just ask for ID when you do it.
Picture.
Picture.
It's anonymous. Can we see your ID?
I guess you all have been reading the same news articles I have been about all these cold cases that are getting solved, decades old murders and rapes and stuff. It's the AI mining those databases. Anybody that left DNA anywhere, some of us may need to be worried. Some cops that have had those nagging unsolved crimes over the years are finding perps these days. Okay,
Next, we'll move to the teacher incentive allotment strategies and implications.
yeah, I won't spend too much time on this. I've repeatedly told you that TEA is trying to put tentacles on the money that's flowing to us. And I've mentioned the teacher incentive allotment on more than one occasion. The commissioner really, really wants everybody to move to a model of paying teachers based on performance and not seniority. I entered this business in 1980, which, if my math is right, was 46 years ago. And for all 46 years, there's been a 20-step pay scale for professional employees, and you start at 0, and then with each year of service, you get up to 20. And in most cases, that's where you stop. Some districts have gotten innovative and added a few steps beyond because they didn't want to lose people. What I'm hearing out of TEA now is this coming year is the last year that teacher pay scale will be in place. If a district wants to maintain a seniority-based or service-based pay scale, they'll have to create their own. But the commissioner wants to do one like in the right bottom corner of that screen, where teachers are judged on their efficacy in the classroom, largely based on the test scores that they produce. And they're either judged as unsatisfactory and paid accordingly, or progressing 1 or 2 and paid accordingly, or proficient 1, 2, or 3 and paid accordingly, or exemplary 1 or 2 and paid accordingly, or a master teacher. Again, But
Your top performers are gonna perform. You're gonna
Yeah.
drive the rest of them out of the business, and there's already a shortage across.
Agreed. agreed, it seems to me divorced from the realities on the ground.
Mhm.
But I have a sister-in-law that's making a nice chunk of money every year. We have one teacher here, Crystal Clayball, was on that system at Ropes, and we hired her last summer, and the way TEA has this thing configured is the money follows her. So, Lacey and I, we have a little bit of flexibility in how we handle that. But my conversations with Lacey, and I think she agrees, by the way, Lacey's is not well today, that's why she's not here. But my position is, I really don't want to play that game, but that money's coming for Crystal, so I think she gets the money. What we can do is take 10% of it to apply to our overhead cost for having employed her, the insurance, workman's comp, those kinds of things. But we're gonna have to make decisions about that as time goes by. I've already scheduled a meeting between Lacey and me and the expert at the Region Center for the first week of June. If they tell me that 60% of the school districts in the region are doing it, and over 50% of the districts all over the state are already jumped into this pool. So at the end of the day, it's either leave some money on the table or knowingly step into a political quagmire. I think so. We'll see how it all shakes
You're
down.
meeting with Gail Smith, is that who you're meeting with?
Wesley Graham, is that the name?
Maybe, Gail's the one who works with at the Region Center. Gail Smith is.
No, that's not the name.
Fully valid a year. And it's very expensive per teacher. So, I mean, the amount. The districts I know that are doing it because they can't hire quality staff and teachers. They're doing it as a recruiting tool. They're not doing it because it's best for their district. It's best for their kids. They're doing it as a recruiting tool to get people in there because you guys know when you start talking money and you're worth this much and you're worth this much and you're worth this much and you're worth this much, it's a divide.
Creating such a mess.
You're gonna have different groups of kids from year to year. You're gonna have different, I mean, if we paid our coaches based upon performance. And you might work harder on a year and lose the second round than you did, then it's very hard to make that a fair system. And I mean, and like Nelson said, I think it's become politically very divisive within your community. And when your neighbor is making more money than you right next to you, but like you said, we are leaving money on the table. I mean,
And how do you judge their effectiveness for the levels of this?
No,
That's
there's no data for that.
that's what I live,
Well,
breathe every day at work, and that, like, in districts, you've got some teachers screaming that other teachers told their kids to bomb the first test, and then that way they could show a tremendous amount of growth. You hear of people telling the kids how much money they're gonna make if they do well on this end of year. I mean, it has become, and then some schools tried to fix it, which is where I would have been tempted and just find a way for everyone to qualify. Cause you know, we have all these great teachers. I want everyone to qualify. And now now TEA is saying, nope, too high of a percentage, we're pulling it. So they're making it so messy.
One of the things I dealt with this in the larger schools, which is kind of a precursor to this problem, when I was dealing with the advanced placement community. I would regularly deal with teachers that would try to run students out of their class. I mean, they in those advanced placement classes, they were already teaching only the top 20% of the performers.
Right.
But they'd spend the first 2 weeks trying to be as hard on them as they could to run them out. So that they were only teaching the top 10%. So when those kids took the advanced placement tests in the spring, they were the best of the best, and it made the teacher look exceptional. And I know some of you will be surprised when Nelson said our advanced placement teachers are the most skilled and well-trained people that we have. So at least half of their schedule will be spent teaching our neediest learners. That was not a well-received message at all. But we did it anyway.
These only cover core classes too, right? Any
No, you can,
or art teacher?
they can do it now for
Yeah.
art. They
Yeah,
just
you
have
can-
to find a way to measure growth.
Yeah, you gotta figure out the metrics. That's the thing.
The bear.
And that's another thing that's been contentious is when schools roll it out initially, it's impossible to roll it out on the full scale. So there's just certain subject area teachers that benefit and the others have to sit back and wait for their year to be rolled in, which that's not fair either.
It's tricky. It's tricky. Okay, that's all I got on that, Cody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for
Everybody,
listening.
anybody else have anything? Good. Okay. Next, will action item consider temporary modification to JJSD Board Policy DC Local to delegate the superintendent final hiring authority for only classroom teaching and or teaching coaching contractual personnel positions, which with such modification to policy DC Local to begin May 15th, 2026, ending July 31st, 2026, at which time the policy will revert to its original delegated authority.
Does that sound like a lawyer put that together?
Mm-hmm.
So, let me start this conversation this way. I have no relatives that are band directors. Nor mistresses somewhere that are band directors. So, this is common practice in larger districts, and it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. If we find a band director that we want and we want to hire them, then we got to get 4 of you together, or you can authorize us to pull the trigger in June and July. This is basically, you're just offloading the authority for a professional hire to us in the summertime.
For basically a month and a half.
2
Make sure we
months.
have a body in the
2 months.
classroom when school starts.
Well, yeah, I hope we're not looking for somebody still in July. And if we're gonna lose any teachers or coaches, I'm not aware of it. I haven't gotten a sniff of it. I suppose, there could be a life-changing circumstance, but. So I'm you're not gonna hurt my feelings one way or the other. This was, if you wanna do it and save yourself the trouble trying to call a meeting, that's the way we'll do it. If you wanna call a meeting, we'll do it that way.
I'm fine with you. I'm okay with it. Y'all making that decision. I think you'll.
I'll make the motion.
Roy makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Andy seconds, all in favor? Next will be a discussion item, scholarship options for Jayton High School students.
I know Cody Stanley was at the meeting Friday night at the Commissioner's Court. This is kind of a continuation of the conversation that we've been having. We are right now paying in the vicinity of $40,000 out of our M&O budget to pay for the cost of dual credit classes that our high school kids are taking. And I think that was a decision Scott made, which, yay, good call. If we can manage to do it in ways that don't pull on the M&O budget, would be nice. The conversations, I sat through the meeting a couple of weeks ago in our auditorium, and then the follow meeting with the Commissioner's Court at the courthouse, and then the one that they had last Friday evening. And I was surprised at how many people were there on Friday evening. That was a good gathering. I didn't think there'd be that many people show up. And Judge Coulter did I thought it was strategically a good call by asking the county attorney Aaron Clements to give about a 15-minute tutorial on chapter 312, by which authorizes the commissioners to engage in those tax abatement conversations. And he did a very nice job of talking through the process and the implications for the county and also for the companies. I don't know what the commissioners are going to do. A couple of things I have floated with the judge and one of the commissioners that I have enough information on that I could probably get him thrown in jail. Is one possibility is to build into that abatement, plowing money into our education foundation, or a lot of people still call it the Adolphus Moreland Fund. Because when we have graduating classes, what we generally do on that deal is take whatever interest that pile of money is created and split it evenly across the seniors and say, here's some scholarship money for you to pursue further education. If Crusoe or one of those wind companies or windmill or solar companies wants to plow money into that puppy, that's a 501c3. So they get the benefit of tax relief if they do that. And then all of our kids and grandkids get some benefit at some point in time when they graduate on that. Another thing that I floated with Lane and Turney the other day, and it only occurred to me last week, and this is really not scholarship, but the most, I'm kind of skipping down here into the piece that talks about budget preliminaries. And it was in your board packet, but we got the preliminary property values for the county last week from Cindy, and they were down by $110 million. So we dropped from about 460 million to 350 million property value. Well, that means our tax revenue drops too. The way the school funding formulas are built now, to use Johnny Tubbs' language, they're kind of revenue neutral. So it really doesn't, they kind of got you as far as how much money you're going to have access to. And I even played with the template yesterday some, and I put in property values of 450 million, 550 million, 750 million, 1 billion, and what we get to keep doesn't change hardly at all. But here's what I floated with Lane and Turney, and I don't even know if it's legal. If in that tax abatement, if they ask Crusoe or one of those other companies to put money either into our education foundation and or into the permanent school fund, because that permanent school fund is not tied in any way to directly to our school funding mechanisms. And then that would increase that principle so that we could continue to do some of the things that benefit the school and the community in a way that is actually funded by these companies that are wanting the tax abatement. So I don't know if they're introducing that into the negotiations or not. They're wisely, they're not telling me what they're doing, and they shouldn't. But that's scholarship possibilities. One thing, and I'll just add this too. I mentioned earlier that our education foundation, the Adolphus Mourning Fund, typically what we do is split that interest up evenly across the graduates, which I think that's good practice. When we were at Guthrie, we created the education foundation while I was there. They did not have one prior. And one of the mechanisms we put in place when we were building the bylaws to that thing was every graduate had access to that money. They got it when they returned their report card to us and they passed the class. We weren't paying for D's and F's. If you go to school and you make an A, B, or C and you get credit, okay, we'll help you all set that cost. So that's something that may enter into the conversations of that committee. Questions about that?
Something like that, or certificate or license or something.
Of what?
With certificates.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Industrial credentials, absolutely. Yep.
Good. All right, next we'll move to discussion on a revision of VIC local.
Yeah, I'm putting this on the screen for you. I know that's, I won't beat you. This is our current policy. This is something we've talked about and we were waiting for the commissioner's rules, and I'll show you the rules. And this is one we revised a couple or 3 months ago because we were doing something illegal with it. But, so that's what our current policy reads. Now here's the big 3 pieces of the commissioner's new rules. All advanced placement courses all international baccalaureate courses, which is a different version of advanced placement. On-ramps dual credit courses are really those that are owned, they are proprietary to the University of Texas at Austin, and they have that privileged place only because of the political power of the University of Texas at Austin. And then non-career and technical dual credit courses. And that's the influence of the academics on the process right there. Those all are to be weighted the same way. The next one, if it's a CTE dual credit course, one that's directly, you get college credit for it, but it's driven toward HVAC or EMS or whatever, then it has to be a weight a little less than those other ones. And then the third piece is if you have honors courses, which we do, they receive an additional weight that is determined locally if a school honors those courses. So our honors courses currently are, for one thing, we just say if it's PE, it doesn't even count. PE or athletics don't even count at all. And then we have some honors courses like physics and pre-calculus, accounting 1 and accounting 2 have been considered honors courses. Band 3 and band 4 have been considered honors courses. And so I thought, well, I'm wondering what some of these other districts are doing. So I went to look in a little bit. And so here's what it reads in our handbook right there. And you can see our honors courses. I just listed those for you. And then also in that language, it says, we're just not even we're gonna play like athletics and PE don't count at all. And I got to fishing at some other courses and some other school districts. And look at the language in Abilene ISD. And it says, the class rank shall exclude grades earned in any distance learning course unless it's TXVSN, and the state's sunsetting that process. So that's really now a non-issue. Exclude, except dual credit courses unless the course is an eligible course. It excludes any dual credit course or credit by examination course. Some of us will know that in the term called CLEP test, or without prior instruction. And then the calculation shall exclude grades earned in PE, any course substituted for PE, any distance learning course, unless the course is dual credit, any course which is taken outside the regular school day or school year. Very, very tight. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to look at Lubbock. The district shall include in the calculation for class rank semester grades in high school credit courses taken at any grade level and regardless of how many times the student has taken this course. And then in the other language, they also are given weighted credit to the dual credit side. So Abilene is very anal in their approach. Lubbock is saying, you know, we want you to go learn, you know, and taking the gloves off. And then I thought, well, I'll look at Wiley, you know, an upper class suburb. Calculation of class rank shall exclude grades in PE, athletics, band, choir, local credit courses, any distance learning course, any dual credit course, so the political forces in that school district have said, if you're not taking the courses we want to inside our building, well, you're just out of luck. So as we have this conversation in the next couple of months, we'll have to be thinking of it in the context of we got to meet the commissioner's rules. And we gotta be deciding how prescriptive or exclusive we want to be in that delineation of those courses. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm not a fan of Abilene's, and, I mean, I don't know why we would discourage kids from taking classes. I'm not sure I understand that, but,
I thought the purpose of what the commissioner was doing was to standardize this, so that
correct.
when colleges looked at a student or trade schools or whatever looked at a student, they were looking at apples to apples
Yeah.
instead of apples to oranges or whatever. These rules
Well,
don't define that. in
They
my
didn't.
opinion.
they didn't go as far as I was
Pretty-
expecting them to.
Yeah,
And one school district, I didn't include that in the listing, one school district I looked at, and I thought this was extremely interesting, and it reminded me of the battles that I fought in the big schools over the advanced placement stuff. One of the school districts said the advanced placement courses were weighted heavier than the college dual credit courses. The whole purpose of advanced placement in its conception was to allow kids to get college credit while they were in high school. But it was the political forces at play, that won the arguments or the battles, whatever you want to call them. But anyway, it's kind of a murky thing. The commissioner's rules maybe help a little, I don't know. One school district I looked at had progressively, if you look at top to bottom, as an example, it would be like that top group would be weighted at 10 extra points, and the middle group would be weighted at 7 extra points, and then that bottom group would be weighted at 5 extra points, and then everything other than would be called regular classes. That seemed to make about as good a sense to me as any of them that I saw. But it'll be, this conversation will continue, and y'all can talk with me and with each other, and if you want to do some homework, if you're bored, one of these days, you can look at it. But we're gonna have to settle in on, and I know we have a new TASB update coming probably in the next couple of weeks. Update 137 is coming, and they may address EIC local in that one. I'm not sure. That's all, Cody, unless y'all want to talk.
Good.
Okay.
I just have one comment on the possible scholarships. I don't know
Yeah.
what happened there. It reminded me of Sterling City. So, they got a multi-million-dollar donation to their education foundation from a wind years ago, but the kid starts first grade there. I don't know if it starts in kindergarten, but I think it's $1,000 a year. Second grade.
Oh, really?
Second grade.
They build
Another $1,000 a year.
Blackpool does.
It could be 2,000 a year,
Well, I think
but.
for their tuition, or is it just I thought they paid their tuition.
College.
Mhm.
I'm not sure about that, but just to retain students, if they, sixth grade year, if the parents don't like the teacher they're gonna have, they would go to a neighboring town, then come back seventh grade year. If you leave and come back, you start from zero.
Oh,
You lose all that.
interesting.
It's just one way to kind of keep what they were doing that. And I think if you start in kindergarten, when you graduate, I want to say it's $20,000, I think, or more. I want to say it was 2,000 a year, just to kind of.
Yeah, I was not aware of that. I'll talk to Rudy and Brian both
Yeah.
about those. That's a model I was not familiar with.
Yeah, I thought that was, I never
Yeah.
heard of that. I thought that was, it would take a substantial account to get that.
Oh, yeah,
started, but,
yeah.
it's one option that some districts are doing.
Well, there's some people, I'm familiar with some people in Sterling City that
Mhm.
they could give a lot of money and not miss it, ever. Plenty of money. And some of them have property out here.
You got a little of it on a golf donation or.
Oh, really? Here?
Josh Gaines.
Oh. See out in Portland County?
That's where my son-in-law,
I did not know that. Okay. I did not know that.
why he's operating this out here.
Did not know that. Okay,
Next, we'll move to action item consent items, the minutes of April 14th, 2026 board meeting. The permanent school fund review requests, and financial reports.
Cody, when I built your board packet, I got a revised version of the permanent school fund from Valerie this afternoon. So that's why you're looking at it in hard copy, and I know the font is small, but that's about $1 million higher than in the permanent school fund than the document that I put in your board packet on Sunday afternoon or Saturday, whenever I did it. So that's good news. I was surprised when I saw that first one that it had appeared to be stagnant from the previous month. So this one is really more what I was expecting at 38 million plus.
Anybody have any questions over the financial reports or from the school fund? We'll need a motion to approve the minutes, the permanent school fund review and the financial reports.
So move.
I'll second it.
All in favor? DJ makes a motion, second seconds.
You, Cody, would sign that, please.
Next will be action item, consider responses to RFQ 2026-02 for design build of teacherage. I think that's in our packets too.
This, the teacherage, this is the one and only bid we got. I thought I was doing such a good thing by spending $1,000 to advertise, and and when I was getting inquiries from different people, I thought, well, we'll have some bids to consider. So we do, one. I built the specs for the proposal directly from Heineman's. This is the house he was building for either Grady or Borden County. I can't remember which one.
Borden County.
And so I just took those specs, and that's how I built the RFQ. And so it wasn't any trouble for Heineman to build their proposal for it. And they don't have the pages numbered, but the price tag. Is it page 23? Yeah. There's the price tag, $268, which is that's where we thought it was gonna do.
That's the final price tag?
It's never the final.
I was just curious.
You're poking at me now. After Keith gets his little shave off of it,
Oh.
he gets his little shave off of it. Wish I could say it was a fun, but I think.
It's as best as you can get.
Well, and this will be closer, per our conversation last month. It's a reduced floor space size. And then also going with a carport instead of the bricked garage. Well, as you can see at the bottom of that thing, if you added a brick garage, that would add 35,000 plus to it. So I'm gonna recommend to you that we accept that bid and build that house.
1680 on all the other schools, that kind of looks like a common build size and everything, so.
Make a motion that we continue with this recommendation and build a house.
I'll second that.
Cody makes a motion, Kenzie seconds, all in favor?
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for your trust.
Next, we'll move to action item, consider proposals for track surface repair.
So, I sought out 3 track surface people, Parkett, Hellas, and Symmetry. And Symmetry replied back to me that we felt like you didn't treat us right in the softball, baseball thing. We're not even gonna play. I didn't want to argue with him, and I don't think it was good business for him to say that, but it's his call. But I went to our girls softball game in Ballinger 2 weeks ago. And I'm walking to the bathroom, one of the 10 times I go to the bathroom, but a guy pulls up next to me in a pickup and rolls down his window and he says, somebody told me you're the interim superintendent at Jayton. I said, I am. And he introduced himself, which I used to coach against his dad, of course, you know, and coached against his brother, but he's now working for ProTech, which is the one you see on the screen. And he said, I was told that you all are looking at possible repair of a track. I said, yeah. He said, well, that's what we do. Can I put in a bid? I said, yeah, I'll send you the stuff. You can put in a bid. So we have 3 bid proposals, one for ProTech, and they specialize track and tennis. They're not an all-purpose outfit. And so as you can see I tried to simplify this a little bit for you and make it not quite so busy. Let me say this as a preface. All 3 companies, of course, they have a front salesman, you know, and he's like a car salesman. He wants to sell you something. But all 3 of them also brought their track specialists out here and walked the track and looked at the cracks and looked at the patches. And when I visited with all 3 of them, they said, this is cracking because you have a base problem. It shouldn't be cracking unless you have a problem underneath it. And so I heard exactly the same thing from all 3 of these people, which that was kind of comforting to me. So the ProTech group, all of them have and of course they put it in different formats a little bit, but is the base repair, which is 290,000 plus. And then the actual surface that they apply. And what I asked for each of them, I said, I don't want your bottom surface, your minimum surface. I want at least your midline surface or better for in your proposal. And so the surface, and they call it a full pour. I won't worry you with the different technical kinds of ways they can do it, but it's a nice rubberized surface that's poured on kind of like pancake batter and then screeded and smoothed like you might do with concrete. And what they do is they'll go in and they'll skin off the top of the track that we have. Right under that is asphalt. They'll grind it up and pull it out. And then right under that is probably in our part of the world, it's caliche, but it could be crushed rock. And that's the very base part. And what they'll do is they'll go in and stir that up, or they may even pull it out and replace it and then put it back. And that's what they water and pack. And then they go back with the asphalt on top of it. And then they put the rubberized surface on top of that asphalt. So for ProTech, what they're proposing there is $792,000. If you go and I'll show you the pictures. So on the better surface is $908,000, and that if this is the group you want to go with, if you want to do this, if you don't want to do it, it's fine with me too. I would if we go with ProTech, I would recommend the better surface. And on the better surfaces from all 3 companies, they're looking at a 10-year warranty. And it's one of the reasons we're having this conversation 3 years after we have our current track. I mean, ideally, it would have been done 3 years ago, and you wouldn't have to have this conversation until 7 more years from now. But and then if you want color, and I'll show you the color schemes on that here in a minute. They gave us some options on the color at colored lanes, exchange zones, and we've seen that in some of the places we've run. Adds a little extra to it. So there is the black track with the gold exchange zones. And there is a gray track with black exchange zones. And there's the black track with gray exchange zones. So depending on the color cost a little more. What those people tell me, the experts tell me that when you go with the colors, like the gray or the gold, they're a little bit bad about fading out. And I was at Angelo State 3 weeks, was it 2 weeks ago or 3 that we played tennis down there? I was looking at the Angelo State track and it didn't look like Angelo State gold. It looked like chartreuse yellow or whatever.
Not like ACUs, it didn't look purple.
Right.
Mine was-
So the next company is Hellas. And they have a new rep, believe it or not. And long story short, they just pitched us this thing, but any of them would make it the colors that we wanted. But what Bob pitched at us was a black track with gold striping on the lane. But here is the number. Whoops, I'm sorry. This was the number for the least expensive surface, which was not what I would recommend. I would recommend the more expensive surface, which adds $125,000. So their bid basically for the surface that I think we should go with would be 1.125 million, something like that. And then finally, the people that are building our softball baseball complex is Tarkett, but their track specialist is called Bainon. They're the affiliates that do the track work. And their product bid was 1.1 million. Their technician, he was here on Friday. In fact, they came directly to me from Texas Tech. They had been talking to Wes and Tom there about replacing the track at Texas Tech. And their track technician, he was just insistent that they do a bore sample, take a core sample like you would in an oil field down to 15 feet, which would add $10,000 to that. I'm not sure why, because all three of them told me they got to go down to that Caliche base anyway. I'm not sure why they would need to do a core sample 15 feet deep, but anyway, their price tag would be 1.1 million and add 10,000 to that for core sampling. And something else they said to me that doesn't completely make sense to me, that it would be 4 to 6 weeks out before they would even have the results from the core sampling, which I wasn't sure about that. A complicating factor is calendar. And I've discussed it with all of them. We have athletes still working out on the track right now for the next week. For this week. So the earliest they could get on would be next week. We are hosting a football camp in mid-June. So whatever they were doing, they'd have to vacate, shut down, and make sure we had access to the football field for that week in mid-June for our football camp. And then fire back up. And we also have the Gridiron Classic the last weekend of August. So they'd need to be gone, done, out of town before we get ready for that. And then I've told all three of them, I said, we're graduating a great group of seniors, but I don't think we're through winning football games. I think it's very likely we might be playing at Thanksgiving again next year. So the next opportunity to get back on there would be after Thanksgiving earliest, I think, if we stay healthy. Always, you got to stay healthy. So if you want to repair the track now, I mean, I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to sell you something you don't want. If we don't repair the track now, then we're going to buy caulk and start putting in the cracks and keep doing what we're doing. If you want to repair the track, or you're willing to repair the track, then I'm going to recommend that we go with the ProTech
Did they say they could get started on it pretty quick?
Yeah, and what they indicated to me is they would, because of the football camp, they would like to come in and do the tear out work and then the base work and the asphalt work before the football camp, and then get away from it while we have football camp, and then come back after football camp is over and apply the rubber. None of them were very interested in trying to apply the rubber in the wintertime, which is understandable. I mean, not only is the weather dicey, it's just, I mean, that stuff goes down better when it's hot. So they're, and my recommendation would be to go with Protec and to go with one of these two options that have the color, either the black with the gold. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not too passionate about it. The gray track with the black exchange zones.
Where would we have had a great track?
Or the black track with the gray.
What is the great exchange zones?
And we don't have to color the exchange zones. I mean, our current exchange zones are not colored. That's just sort of a common current trend to put color on the exchange zones.
Didn't Hellas do the existing track?
Hellas did the existing track. And that,
Some of the markings aren't even correct, like
oh, really?
if you run the 100-yard dash from south to north, or north to south, there's no starting line, it's,
Oh,
yeah, it's,
well, you know, and that, I mean, that's been part of the heartburn with Hellas, and we dealt with that when we were talking about the softball baseball thing. I mean, their new rep is a guy. I don't think Bob's probably about Roy's age, but well-known coach, and he coached at UT, and a high-profile name. But I think he's an honest guy, and I think he's trying to do the best he can. But long story short, though, the track that we got, I've gotten about 6 different versions of why we have a problem, and it's like this, you know, it's always somebody else's fault that it's not, it doesn't look like a 3-year-old track. So. And it doesn't matter. I mean, we got what we got.
Tear that off, let's have them just tear it up.
Now, one thing, and I forgot to mention this as well, as I've walked the track and I've talked with all 3 of those providers about it. The 7 lanes of the running lanes, for all 400 meters, there's cracks and patches. When you step out on that high jump apron, or those long jump, triple jump, or pole vault approaches, you don't find a single crack on those. And I asked them, tell me why that's happening. They said, because when they put the football field in, they redid the base of everything inside the running lanes. And so the base under there is fine. So I would not have thought of that, but it makes sense. Because I was assuming maybe it was applied in bad weather and one in good weather or something like that, or a different batch of that rubber.
Well, even after it was thick, it just seemed to get worse.
Within a couple of weeks.
Does this include that big high jump area on the north end?
Yeah, and I told them, I said that I was gonna recommend to you all, if we resurface, then we resurface everything. I don't think it would be a good idea for us to resurface the 7 running lanes and leave the aprons different rubber and different look. If we're gonna do it, I would recommend we just do it all.
Okay.
And with all of them, they're saying if you do it, and then you got a 10-year warranty, so that ought to last till I'm gone.
Maybe. I don't know if anybody agrees with me or not, but I'm kind of like, I like a black track.
I do too.
I don't even care about the exchange zones. I think they look kind of odd, but I'm not a track guy either.
Well, see,
so
and that's where I like a
the-
black
the
track. I would have to listen to the people that have
Most of
black,
them track.
refereed the exchange zones to see what they think about those, but as far as the track, I'd rather have black than gray. I think it fits our aesthetic better.
I mean, I would prefer white lines over gold lines, but
Mhm.
that's nitpicking. I don't really care that much.
The lines.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, I mean, $1 million is $1 million, give or take a little.
Right.
But the cheapest version of all of them is gonna be solid black, white striping, and like our current one is white track, a black track, white striping, and then gold lettering, numbering. Nothing wrong with the way it looks at all.
You'll have some blues and reds and for her.
Oh, yeah, for her, yeah. Greens.
Uh,
Yeah,
You start to see those colored exchange zones now. I don't know if it's,
Sure, it makes it easy.
man, I don't know, I mean.
well, what it
Kids are running so fast.
What it doesn't do, that's the 4x100 exchange zones.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not the 4x200 exchange.
No,
It's not the 4x400 exchange zones. It's just,
It's an
it's
exchange
those
zone.
nice earrings.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Pretty earrings. Yeah, I get it.
Just need to have one more lane.
yeah, you couldn't really do all the exchange zones.
The commissioner asked about that this morning.
Yeah, right.
About
Are
what?
you sure you can't add one more
Yeah,
lane?
that ain't funny.
No,
No, without moving.
Not
New
moving.
visitor stand, they don't just slide back, they're not on skids, pull the big visitor one back.
That one you can't fool.
this company gave 3 references in the Lubbock area, so I would like to think that people wouldn't refer them to their friends if
They were credible.
if they weren't credible, yeah.
I don't think it's safe to run on.
Mhm.
I wouldn't want kids running full speed out there. And we have quite a few track mates here. They bring a lot of teams when the wind's not blowing 80 miles an hour.
Mhm.
We run a lot of laps on it.
And our kid,
The
yeah.
rest of it,
kids-
every day.
Our kids working out.
Every day. And our community walks on it regularly.
That's fine.
If they did on some of them center tracks, it wouldn't.
So we had level land.
I can remember running on asphalt tracks.
Mm.
And running that quarter and immediately stepping off and taking the shoes off, cause your feet are just blistering in that heat.
You ever fell down going over a hurdle on that center? You have a leg or two look like hamburger.
Yeah.
Hey.
Indeed. Indeed. But what I worked out on in Bront, cause we didn't have a track. And our coach one year talked to one of the local ranchers, it had a pretty flat piece of property out there, so that the county had the maintainer and just put a track in that red dirt. And it was pretty good the first day,
Yeah.
but every day after it got a little soft.
Sir.
And by the end of track season, your shoe was just that red mud.
Little dust down far.
And then there was the pole vault pit.
Yeah.
And what was the time frame of them being able, if we've got a camp in June?
They tell me that-
Football season in.
Yeah, they tell me that if they can be done with it, by the time we get ready for football.
Man, I've been here 8 years and we've had 3 projects and not one of
Well,
them done football.
Yeah.
No, this might be the one.
Well,
No, I'm sorry, not football, by next track season, I'm sorry.
I know, but I'm saying, what do we do during football season? They're gonna,
What
Scaffolding
days will
across
they be
there,
at
walk
during football
across.
season?
Oh,
Maybe
I don't know.
see, that's something we need to really understand.
Wait, so you're saying if they get started next week, you do or don't think they'll be done by gridiron?
No, they won't.
Not completely.
I don't know.
But on one of those I was reading, I think the last one, it said they were gonna dig 2 feet down to take that, and then another 6 feet. So there's gonna be 10 foot hole all the way around that.
Right.
Maybe look at that.
That was the Target group, I think.
So, and I'm pretty sure that's what most of them are gonna do, get down pretty deep and get all that base out and redo it, cause they want it done right.
Yeah.
They don't wanna come back in 3 years and have to redo it.
Well, what the Protect people told me, and that guy, their track expert was from Tyler, he flew to the airport. He said they would get down after they removed the asphalt, then they would dig down into that caliche base and stockpile it and then put it back. I mean, they'll use the material if they think it's good material, rather than transport in a bunch of stuff.
They thought they could do it without affecting the integrity of the football field.
All three of them,
No problem.
yes, said they felt like they could do it
They
without
should be able to do that.
impacting the football field.
But don't you feel like now's the best time to start than to wait till after football season start? Cause then you don't have your track for track season, right?
Yeah,
So like this is that time to
our
start.
calendar is
Again.
problematic, yeah, and very similar to everybody else's, except Gridiron Classic is a challenge, and then also playing football late like we do
Mhm.
or have been.
If we go for it before you tell them we're for sure, can you make them promise that they're gonna get out of our way for football games?
Well, I mean, that's. I can,
Kindly persuade them.
well,
Mhm.
yeah,
So, yeah, you have approval if.
right. And then you run into what if they don't, because there's not much we can do about it if they get stuff torn out. And
If these guys do the
well,
baseball
Ain't any
fields.
moving.
Get these guys, they'll be done next week. I got it out there. We did like we did baseball the last 4 years, did all away schedules.
Coaches are not gonna love that for practice.
No, that does interfere with cross country though, because cross country does a lot of work on the track too.
Yeah.
They save their legs.
They do.
But I don't know a way around it. I mean,
No,
Well,
There's not
we've done it
a-
before. I don't remember the
I think
last.
the last time, I think it started right after the last football game. And ready to go by Rolling Plains, is that what it was? Was it during winter that they were?
Mhm.
I don't remember.
Yeah, they
They
did do it
moved the
right.
last home football games
Swamp lanes,
to another location to
To give them more time.
give them more
On
time.
the track.
We didn't host any playoff football games.
They just started.
They started right then, did the tear up of it, but that was just surface. Cause they did not do
Yeah, they didn't do the.
the base with that track. They just did the top surface of it and did that. And then had it done and ready when track season
Okay,
started. And I think they were done in plenty of time for that to happen, but like I said, they didn't do anything with that asphalt base under
Mhm.
it. They did some patching on it.
Yeah. Not particularly well,
Not enough.
apparently. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I wouldn't think that, like them doing that you would just go in there and tear it out and not attack the base or even do some core tests to see what the base is
Mhm.
underneath you. Now, talking about $10,000 for a core test, there's probably more than one around it, but
Yeah,
I don't see going 15 feet deep, but that's what we had to do when we built a new nursing home, was go 15 foot deep.
Yeah.
And we did, we tore it out 15 foot down and put it all back in packed.
Mhm.
But I don't think this is gonna be holding up quite the way to that.
well, no.
Building is.
It's really far.
I mean, them guys took a lot of money from me all here at this school, or us here at this school,
Mhm.
and not even do a core sample and see what the base is. I would think that should have been a no-no.
That base. probably
On their
been there
part.
how long? How long's that base been there?
and then not take responsibility at all for any of it.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember how much work they did when they put the first one in.
First track? Well, I ran on it 50 years ago.
Well,
This month, or
yeah, but I'm talking about after they took the cinders off, I don't know what base work they did.
oh, I don't know.
Before they ran the first.
It was, I mean, it was a rubberized track when I
Not
ran
need
it.
a rise surface down there, that's for sure.
80, the first all-weather tracks, what they call them, probably 85. I think 86, I think it was 86. And it was, Rolling Plains had 100 schools here. For Rolling
It's
Plains.
a 2-day track meet.
Yeah,
It was one of the fastest tracks in West Texas, cause it was about the only one that there was, before Robin Hood and stuff, that's, I think it was probably on the board when they did that. 86 or so.
No, I've been right before Owen, hopefully, well, I remember, but. There was something there, it wasn't cinder up until that time, cinders were back in the mid-70s when that disappeared.
Yeah.
Some type all weather,
Asphalt.
mid-70s.
I think we're gonna run into issues, but I think not doing anything is a bigger issue. I think we're gonna have to address it.
I mean, it could,
And honestly, the sooner we get started,
The better.
better chance they're gonna get
Approaching
it
our
back.
window.
I only thought it was an issue with the football field. And then if they issue with cross country, and then if they don't get it done, then issue with track next year.
So. Do you think they'll have a more concrete time frame if we say, okay, we're ready to go? Do you have?
What if I were to say to them, the board wants to go with you? If you can have us a track ready to go for track season without interrupting our football
Mhm.
or,
They're gonna interrupt cross country, that's gonna have to, as long as they
Get creative.
have access to the football field some way.
oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Also,
they'd have
you get
access to
across.
football field. And, for
They
cross
use the football
country,
field a lot.
Mhm.
I don't know how far along they'll be over here. They'll have turf on the ground, softball, baseball. But, yeah, I'm not sure.
Run sprints on a baseball
Well,
field.
or, yeah. run-
Run circles around the diamond. Run diamonds instead of circles.
Warning track around the bases, home plate.
So, what I can say to them is we're ready to go if you can have the track in place for us, for track season next year and not interrupt our football or summer camp.
How long is that summer camp? Is it a full week?
I think it's a week.
Okay.
Have they had that before? I don't remember.
Well, I'm told that they did.
And last year.
They did, yeah, okay.
I wasn't aware of it, or I didn't remember it happening last year.
They should worry about it. So, anybody have anything else with it? Y'all wanna kind of let Mr. Coker take the wheel and push them and see what time frame they can give us, and if they're like, oh, we ain't gonna be done for a year, then we have to, I guess you can communicate that to the group and we can.
I mean, I would like
I
this.
would like to
see us
make him,
something.
yeah, I would like to make an motion to approve for him if somebody wants to make.
If you want to put the condition, in the motion, that's fine with me. Say,
Yeah, okay with that?
are you inclined to go with Protect?
Yes.
Yes.
And, a black track, solid black?
Okay, so we'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll let them know that you all have authorized me to contract with them as long as they can have the track in place for track season without interruption to our football. Summer camp.
Stephanie makes a motion, Andy seconds, all in favor? All in favor?
Okay, I want to make sure this is safe. Motion made to approve proposals for track service, repair from ProTech with the condition that ProTech makes assurances that the track will be ready in time for track season and their work will not interrupt football games. Good enough?
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Next we'll have.
thank you all for your thinking on that one.
Putting something else on your plate.
Well,
Next
thank
we'll
you
have
for putting this together.
Yeah.
That's make our decision.
Well, I feel like a loser already. It's 8:30. We've been going 2 hours and so I'm.
All right, next discussion item.
Baby.
26-27, let's go. Budget preliminaries.
Just more of the same on that. I've talked to you a little bit earlier about the school finance thing, about the implications for the teacher incentive allotment. Lacey and I are looking at salaries and shared with you all that getting the preliminary values last week is a big step for us in being able to start looking with some reasonable certainty about the tax revenue that's coming in. That I don't know if you looked at that. So did I put the summary of finance thing in your packet? Well, it doesn't matter if I did or not. One of the things on when we put the new preliminary values in that summary of finance template, the state formulas are keeping us revenue neutral, but as I told the commissioners this morning, and 3 of them have been in this room before, I've been involved in this somehow connected to the school since 1989, and at no point, 1992 is when Robin Hood came into effect. At no point has our recapture been as low as $142,000. And I mean, I look at that number, I don't know, that can't be right, but it's the new funding formulas. I mean, they're trying little by little, they're trying to remove the property value from being such a driver of the school funding. That's sort of like good news, but the bad news is that means the driver to the school funding is all coming out of Austin now, which means they get to control more of what you do. So,
Driving down that tax rate.
right now it looks like, well, and there's I'll put it on the screen for you. Johnny put this together for us. A comparison of the current year we're just about to finish up and what's projected. And the red line here is the recapture money. I never thought I'd see the day where Jayton's recapture was only $148,000. But as you can see, the amount of money we'll go home with
Actually more.
doesn't change much. And when I started poking around in that template yesterday and jacking that property value up, this number right here was not changing much at all. They're just not going to let us get access to a windfall of money unless the commissioner somehow twisted into that tax abatement negotiation in some way that they can get money to us outside of these formulas. Not to give them a job, but I mean, they got a tough job anyway, but they understand.
Sure. Next we'll move to discussion item state champs display.
Yeah, so Roy's comment at the last board meeting and then in combination with a couple of conversations I've had with other people got me to thinking about those. We've got the big granite walls and those big Texas medallions, that represent that. And I got to looking at the sign out here behind the field house that denotes the 84 and 85 football teams. And that denotes the 84 and 85 state championship team. The same thing on the city limit. Absent of names involved. And then of course, the one in front of the gym has quite a bit of information on there. But if we went on the medallions and put the big news, 1984 six-man state football champions. And then what Gregor Reeves told me is we could put everything else about that season and the people involved in that QR behind the QR code. So people can open the QR code and they can see player names, coaches' names, superintendent, principal, athletic director, cheerleaders, season record, the whole thing. You can dig as deep as you want to dig. And part of the thing that's attractive to me about that, we're gonna have some mistakes. And if it's a mistake in print behind a QR code, we can get it fixed pretty quickly and easily without having to tear a medallion off or rebuild like that monument in front of the gym. We either just live with it like it is, that's got a misspelled name on it, or we drop $9,000 to replace it and hope we get it right the next time. But when you're talking about 12 of those things, then you're talking about a lot of names and a lot of stuff. And so I guess what I would like from you all, because we don't meet again, we're not scheduled to meet again until June 28th. The display guys are going to come in as soon as we graduate and start tearing ground up and building the patio and beginning to work from the ground up. The medallions will be the last part. But we need to make decisions about how much we want to put on those medallions. And they're going to be about in the vicinity of 30 inches by 30 inches, something like that, each. We can easily get all 4 members of the accounting team on there, if that's what we want to do. A 22-member football team would be trickier. A 45-member band, trickier still. You keep shrinking that font to get it smaller. So, your thoughts, tell me what you're thinking.
Do you know any price difference from just the regular title, like the 84 champions versus the information on it? Is there,
Gregor and I haven't talked about the price difference on the medallions itself. I mean, the only thing he said about that is he thought we were wise going with those metal medallions as opposed to trying to etch the lettering out of the granite, because he called it blowouts. The smaller you make the font, the more likely you are to knock a hole in
I just feel like
the
the QR codes is kind of the thing right now, but
right.
if I find one of my old cassette music players, I wouldn't have anything to play it on. I just there'll be something come after the QR code. I don't know what it's going to be, but
it already is. It's the little things you tap your phone
just
to.
tap
What's the word?
The chip,
Yeah, it's like so.
people have business cards that there's literally nothing on.
You just-
phone.
Yeah. Just,
Yeah, that uploads their contact right to your phone.
Right, yeah. So that's exactly what I was thinking.
just a chip
Was 2 pieces on that is like, how do we make it permanent? Because it's one thing to put a QR code or a tap thing or whatever on there, but you have to maintain something on the web somewhere. Somewhere. That has that information.
My recommendation would be that the QR code would link to that page that we would host on our website. Therefore, we own that domain name and address and all that. And if we did need to change or fix something, we would have easier access to do it. And then we're not tied to another company that's hosting the data for that.
Good point.
That we would end up paying a subscription to later on.
Yes.
So that, I think, would be a good long-term solution for that. And then the camera is just looking at that and it's just addressing you, changing you over to a website address that has a page on it.
But, I'm thinking long after I'm gone, 30, 40 years from now, a medallion with names on it's gonna be there, but who knows what the technology is gonna be, on a website, or it's gonna be
Well, it's conceivable to me that they might throw up a hologram with you and the other guys on that 85.
You run the video and you went in the mile, you know, it's like.
Well, I'm not kidding. I was reading.
Virtual
today-
reality. Somebody can go chase you down.
I was reading today about a company that's using the artificial intelligence to create likenesses of Ben Franklin and Rosa Parks and stuff to tell their stories,
Yeah.
the historical stories that we recognize, but it out of the mouth of the person that presumably was actually there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the technology is just gonna get more and more robust.
We'll let the school board fix that.
But what-
50 years.
Something that we addressed last time is academic kids are already down there. So like we see all their names in the learning center, right? All the kids who made state in academics,
On the Texas.
so they're gonna be down
Right.
there. And, so they're represented, their names are, but then our band kids aren't.
Right?
So I like that balance. Mr. Imfinger, could you print on your giant printer the size of one of those? And maybe the font size, so we could see
medallions?
a medallion, so that we could actually touch and see how tiny the font, is it gonna be that small that we can't read it,
How wide?
or?
How wide paper can you print on?
Up to 36. So,
Then the answer to that would be yes.
yes, yeah.
If we kinda talked about fonts and stuff, if we thought, oh, that many names is too much, could we look at it and touch it and feel it and see what it actually looks like?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Are you okay
Because the
with
band's
trying
probably
that?
gonna be the largest number of names.
Yeah, the band would be the biggest.
That never even occurred to me. Yeah.
That or I'm good with the QR code, that's.
I like that.
The
Okay.
QR code is, I mean, it's not that new. I did some research with
Right.
Tombstone.
Yeah.
And so that's the discussion. It's not gonna be obsolete, but it is gonna be out of date.
Well, I think it'll be replaced, like Cody suggested, it'll be replaced by something else.
Yeah.
Just like we're doing with the metal signs back here.
And so would the QR code, like, because I've done this, is it gonna be would it be a sticker or would it be like part of the surface? Because another thing, those wear. on
Yeah,
those
the
monuments.
way Gregor described it to me is on each one of those medallions, there would be a QR code. He talked like it would be up in the panhandle of Texas, you know,
Uh-huh.
in that particular.
So if we could
Station
give a
rated
visual of
metal
what that looks
or
like and a
laser.
visual of what it looks like with the
Probably
name.
Laser.
I can definitely do the names. See,
No,
if
I think
can
it would
find an
just
example of
be
wherever
applied to it.
The QR
I don't
code.
know if it-
Yeah. I'd rather just look at it before we make
I don't think it would be etched in it. Is that what you were saying?
Well, like. Put it up there, maybe that laser, see what it looks like. Then it's.
I'll find out. But a first step, that's a great idea. Why don't we proceed like that? And we'll see if we can create some samples out of the printer, the poster printer, that'll allow you to take a
Dan would probably.
look at
Dan would
what
probably
it would
do
look
some,
like.
wouldn't it?
I think so, with
Okay.
those names.
I love the idea of having an online presence of that
Oh, yeah.
display though.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a great
Yeah.
way for people to, if they come to our website, they can pull up our state championship display and see all that same information.
Right.
Because I mean, you could expand on that and have, you know, the entire season's records on there.
You could have anything you want.
Yeah,
You could have a virtual tour.
accomplishments and-
You could go as crazy as far as you down that rabbit hole as you wanna go,
Back to
but,
the annual for that year, and see every kid in there.
but it, you know, it's. Yeah, so I like that idea on one hand, but I'm also like, I'm with Cody on that, like, how long does this QR code last? Like this technology, look,
Right.
do we really wanna put this in the plaque that we put on the wall? You know,
Right.
it's supposed to be a very nice, expensive thing. It's like,
And
I
if
don't
we,
know
if we
wanna
do
keep-
have to kind of go that way, I'm thinking not on every plaque, but somewhere that 20 years down the road could maybe one code that takes us to the bank of all the information that we could then ditch that code and put whatever the new way to get to that information is, rather than every single place.
yeah.
That's a good.
Maybe it's centralized and takes you to
Could
the
they do
virtual.
medallions with, you know, something just attached to it with the QR code on it.
Oh, that's removable. Yeah.
Oh,
See, that's what I'm wondering, because the ones that they put on Monument are like little attachment.
Right, right.
Okay.
That's the way I understood
Those
it.
little thick stickers.
Yeah.
They stick on it.
That's kind of, the way I understood it, the way Gregor was describing it, is something that was applied to the plat. I don't know if it was screwed or glued or, but it wasn't etched into the
Right.
metal.
Cause then it could be updated with whatever.
The new technology.
Yeah, the hologram or the, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Scan it.
All right.
See if you can beat Cody
Start
Stanley
playing
at the
the
mile.
pulpit or something.
Take them to the bed and down pictures.
Yeah.
So you got enough on that one?
Well, that helps me. We'll tinker around with a poster examples and see what that looks like. And somehow or another, I'll let you all take a look at it.
All right, next discussion item, Kent County tax abatement considerations.
So we've kind of already talked about that, in relation to what's going on with the county commissioners, and Steph was at that meeting this morning, which, kind of like this meeting, I did more talking than I should have, but if you got something to add or your thoughts in the conversations, I didn't pick up anything from them. They weren't showing their cards at all to me, either there or back channel, I don't know what they're saying. My instincts tell me from the 3 meetings I've been to, especially the one on Friday. My instincts tell me they're probably gonna try to negotiate a good deal with their Crusoe company. But Lane in the meeting Friday mentioned that they had met with 2 solar companies on Friday morning and put proposals on the table, and one of the companies just walked out of the room. So that tells me that commissioners are trying to play hardball in exchange for what those companies are bringing at us. Tricky business for them. But I had a lady in the community call me last week. They had a Fort Worth phone number, and I didn't recognize the name. And the message on my desk said that she wanted to talk to me about the impact of AI on the school. And I thought, well, maybe it's a reporter from something, I don't know. And I called her back, and it turns out it was actually a retired couple that lives here in the community. Excuse me, and she's worried about the impact of the data center on the school in particular, because they have grandkids here. And so she and I had about a 15-minute conversation, and I told her late in the conversation that my baby brother was the judge and another of my brothers was commissioner. She said, I know that. And I said, well, I've known them for 60 years. And I've had close relations with the other commissioners. And I said, I can tell you, I think all of them are going to be very thoughtful, very deliberate, do what they think's best for this county. And none of them are going to take money under the table. And she said, well, that makes me feel better. I said, well, makes me feel better too. Whether they build it or not, the people living in Jayton will never know it's there. Well, were you at the meeting Friday night? When Aaron Clements was doing his stuff and talking, he had negotiated for Dickens County their agreement with Galaxy. And he put up the picture of the Galaxy from the satellite view of the Galaxy thing. And I asked out loud with purposefully, how big is the footprint of that place? And he said, a little under a quarter of a section. In a 900,000 square miles in this county, somewhere in that ballpark. Quarter section is not much. And it's way out there. So. Out in the boonies. Yeah. There's very few people who live in Jayton have seen the solar farm that's right there. Right on the same. I haven't been out there.
I made a point to drive out there the other day because I had no idea, and it is way out there.
Yeah, I told somebody the other day, the one in Afton is 35 miles from here, this one's 30 miles, and we haven't seen much from
Right.
the effects on the one
It's
that's
just not, you're not gonna see it here in town.
no.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna have near the impact that the one at Haskell's having. No, that's a lot different location relative to the town.
Just thankful we have good folks sitting at that that court up there handling those decisions. And I don't know, I think we just have to trust them because they're trustworthy people.
Agree.
And I'm not just saying that because they're family of people sitting
Saying
here.
that's fine.
I truly believe that about them.
Well,
You know.
I trust the ones that are not kin to me more than the one.
So,
The only homework I've done on it is people are always saying water usage.
Yeah.
And I've heard in the meetings, I haven't made any of the meetings, it's my busy time of the year. But I've always heard closed loop system, and it is a glycol closed loop system that cools the computers and all that, the blade system. But if they have their own power plant, that is where all your water goes. The one at Pampa put their own, I think it's a nuclear power plant up there
Okay,
to power that thing. They're right next to Pantex up there, and they are using ungodly amounts of water just to cool their, not the cooling system for the data center itself, but for their power plant to run that does. So that's where your water use comes in. So-
well, I saw last summer, and you may have seen it, Abilene Christian is the experimental site nationally to be the first university that's powered completely by nuclear power. It's a collaboration of several Division D1 research institutions. But what they're envisioning is cooling that nuclear power plant, I think they said with molten salt, something other than water. They're gonna try to cool the thing with something other than water. But y'all may or may not remember, it's been about 2 years ago, out of the University of Berkeley, I saw a headline where scientists there had cracked that fission nut. And then there's just dead silence. So I'm almost sure they're working to monetize and commercialize what they learned from that science. I think we're gonna, I think the days of Star Trek are coming. I really do.
Yeah.
I believe they are.
And then wouldn't you say something about Elon, something that he's already, I'm sure Elon Musk and guys like that, they're already developing something else.
Yeah,
Well,
it moved on.
I was reading there, trying to put all that data in space where you don't need land and cooling, because
Yeah.
negative 250 degrees up there. And, also always take it while what else is coming around here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot different in 15 years.
Well, when I mentioned earlier, when I was a teacher here, Mike Wilson would get me to drive the academic trip. You may have been on this trip, I don't know. We went down to Austin and southeast toward the coast, but we stopped at a research center in Austin on Research Boulevard, where in the neighborhood I lived in later. It was a big warehouse that was a lab for scientists from the University of Texas, and they were exploring electromagnetic pulse machines as development of military weaponry. That's what they're using now when they fire those non-explosive kinetics into those boats. They're killing them without exploding them. And and that was 30 years ago. They were doing that research. It's like an electromagnetic slingshot, the way it is. I was thinking.
Real good.
I kept you up too late. I failed. Sorry.
Good. All right. Anybody need to go to closed session for anything? We're good. We'll need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Cody makes a motion to adjourn. Andy and B just. All in favor?
I saw Steph saying go up too.
Thank you all for your time and your service.
Let's call for all in favor.